everybody, welcome to Shepherd Speaks. Today we are doing a movie review for the new movie Trap that came out last Friday, August 4th. This movie is different. Different doesn't necessarily mean good. If you don't want any spoilers, just fast forward to the end to hear the rating, but here we go. So Trap is a movie all about this guy named Cooper who is a serial killer, and he has a normal family, has a normal life, just like usual serial killers. And he takes his daughter Riley to a concert for Lady Raven, who is M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. M. Night Shyamalan made this movie with his daughter. So they are supposedly in Philadelphia seeing Lady Raven at this big arena concert, and all of these things start going on. Movement happening, lots of police, lots of SWAT, lots of FBI, everybody's around. So he then goes and takes his daughter to the merch stand and starts talking to this guy at the merch stand, Jonathan. Jonathan is the worker. Cooper says, what's going on with all of the cops? What's going on with everything here? He says, I'm not supposed to tell you, but there's apparently a serial killer who bought a ticket to this concert. So they're interviewing every single guy who has a ticket here because they know that the serial killer is a man, but they don't know what he looks like. They don't really know much about him other than that, and that he accidentally left a ticket at his last crime scene. So now Cooper is the butcher, is certainly on high alert. So he's roaming around, causing chaos, essentially trying to figure out how he can get out because he knows otherwise he'll have to be interrogated. So he sneaks into the police area. He steals their walkie-talkie. He hears this FBI psychologist talking about what the trapper is, or the butcher is going to be doing. And she says, oh, he's going to be probably trying to cause chaos so that he can sneak out. He'll remain calm. He'll look calm. He'll look like he's not the one who's doing it, but it really is him this entire time. So while he's hearing this, he's about to pull the fire alarm. He does something else and she predicts it just as well. So on the walkie-talkie, somehow, someway, she says the only way to get out, that there is no rhyme or reason, is backstage. So he hears that. He then concocts this plan and talks to Lady Raven's uncle, who is M. Night Shyamalan, and says, oh, my daughter has just got over leukemia, and she heard that Lady Raven pulls a young girl up onto the stage for like the grand finale. Any chance that you think that you can get Lady Raven to pull up my daughter? So then he's like, of course, absolutely, I would be honored. So they pull her up, bring the dad around back, Cooper around back, and they're like, oh, yeah, you can just like sneak right out back and not worry about the crowd because this is the last song. Then he finds out that the cops are in the back anyway. So he targets Lady Raven in her suite, and he's like, I just want to talk to you real quick about Riley, you know, about that thing. Like, she doesn't want anybody to know that she has leukemia. So she's like, yeah, of course. So they go into her room with no security, no nothing. And he's like, I'm going to need you to take us in your limo to our car. And she's like, well, you know, that's not a problem, but you're going to have to go through security first. And he's like, no, we're not. So he essentially threatens her, tells her who he is, and he's like, you're going to do everything that I can, or I'm going to kill this guy. And he shows her his phone, and on his phone is a security camera of this guy named Spencer. We don't know anything about him. We never learned anything about him. And he's just like supposedly the next victim of the butcher. So she starts crying, of course. It's a terrible situation to be in. And she's like, yeah, no problem. So they go in her limo, past security, past everything. He ideally gets what he wants. But then she's like, oh, Riley, I would love to visit your house and see where you live. Like, do you think that we can make that happen? And then, of course, the daughter is such a big fan, has no idea what's going on. And she's like, oh my God, that would be amazing. That would be crazy. So tells the limo driver where they live. So Cooper's pissed, obviously. They get to the house, and then everything's pretty normal at first. He tries to take her phone and like quietly threaten her. And she snatches his phone, goes into the bathroom, locks the door, and then you just hear all this chaos outside. That with them being like, Cooper, what are you doing? Why are you mad that she's in the bathroom? Like, why did she take your phone? All of this stuff. So she logs into the app where Spencer was being broadcasted from, and she's like, where are you? What do you remember? He says, I saw a broken lion statue and a blue door, but other than that, I don't know where I am. But I'm in somewhere in the Philly area. So she does a live stream on her own phone, and because she was able to sneak it back from him. And she's like, hey, my followers, like, I need your help. There's this guy, like, this is legit. This isn't a joke. Anybody knows where a lion statue is and a blue door. So all of her followers help find Spencer. So Cooper then freaks out, grabs her, drags her in the car, and she has already gotten kind of a lowdown on his personality, on his traits, and knows that he has big mommy issues. So she's like, Cooper, this is bad. Bad boy, Cooper. And he's like, what are you doing? And you can tell it's really bothering him. So he gets caught, sort of. He drives away, sort of. He gets caught again, sort of. And then, long story short, he ends up going back to his house, and his wife is there. And his wife is the one who has set up the trap in the first place. And that's what our big twist is that she thought that maybe he was cheating on her. So she followed him one night to the house with the blue door and noticed that this is what he was doing. She was like, I really didn't want to believe it. I didn't want it to be true, but I left your concert ticket there just in case this was legit. And kind of, I'm glad that I did. So he goes free. She's okay. The cops come. She drugs him. He's stumbling all around the house. And then the cops come, tase him. Somehow, all of a sudden, he's now brought back to life and shoves his fingers in the eyes of a cop. He's like jumping. It takes 4 or 5 tasers to get him down, but he's supposedly drugged. So a lot of it didn't make a whole lot of continuity, consistency sense, I should say. But they reprimand him, they cuff him, and then his child's bike is outside. So he's like, let me just put up the bike. So they, for whatever reason, let him bend down and pick up this bike, put it on the ground, put the kickstand up, and I put him in the back of the truck. So we see him driving away, and in his sleeve is one of the spokes of the bike. So then he uncuffs himself, and that's how the movie ends. So all in all, that's the story. Lady Raven's fine, the mom's fine, kids are fine. Obviously upset that their dad is a serial killer, but whatever. But again, original doesn't necessarily mean good. So in general, on a scale of 1 to 5 for originality, certainly 5. Definitely original. For the story itself, I would say 3. I think there are a lot of holes in it. I think, especially at the end, I feel like it really fell apart. And yes, he's able to somehow, some way get the spoke off of the bike and unhook himself, but he has 4 or 5 SWAT cars around him. And we're supposed to be under the assumption that he can get out of an arena with 30,000 cops, but he's, so this should be easy peasy, but like, no. Also, they're supposed to be in Philly. I have lived in Philadelphia. These people are not the nicest people, especially when you go to shows. And him talking to the merch guy, and the merch guy just being like, yeah, here's what's going on. And, oh, your daughter wants a shirt? Let me get her one from the back. Like, that in no world would ever happen. So, I thought that was very silly. For scares, a 1 out of, or a 0 really out of 5, it is not a scary movie. It is suspenseful because you don't know what's going to happen next, but it's not scary in the slightest. I would show this movie to a 10-year-old. Like, there's no worries there. For acting, I'll give it probably a 4 out of 5. I thought that he could have done a little bit better of a job as a serial killer. I certainly thought that the FBI psychologist, did not do a good job. I thought it was a little meh. And then for production, I would give it a 5 out of 5. I thought it was a big movie, big budget, um, good land, good everything like that. So all in all, I'll give this movie about a 3.5 out of 5. I didn't think it was necessarily bad. It's original, it's something different, but it's not great. And I think with it being supposedly filmed in Philadelphia, there's clearly no research done on the culture of Philly, and the lack of security going around Lady Raven. You know, there's the little details were certainly missed. So that is the overall review of Trap. If you saw the new movie, let me know what you think. On Rotten Tomatoes, as of a couple days ago, it was at 43. As of today, it's at 54. So it is going up on Rotten Tomatoes. But yeah, if you saw it, let me know your thoughts. Did you like it? Would you watch it again? Would you recommend it to others? As always, thanks for listening. I am now starting to stream on Twitch. We've been doing Dead by Daylight. I'm probably going to start replaying The Quarry next week or so. Getting back into some of those supermassive dark picture anthology type of games. So make sure you tune in to twitch.tv/GMGROX, and I'll see you there. But thanks for listening, and let me know your thoughts on the movie.